welcome to Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm Edmond. On Spectrum tonight we're just gone by. And I guess some of the things that we'll be looking at, you have the London mayhem, 3 days of unprecedented riots, which looting and a great deal of property and lives lost. I will look at that. We'll look at the government reacting to opposition resumption of walk-to-work protests. We'll look at the economic crisis and other issues. The trial of Professor Gilbert Bukenya and the MPs beginning to bite, apparently. Our guests tonight, Honorable Mike Sebalu, Ugandan representative at the East African Legislative Assembly, representing the NRM Party. You're most welcome, Honorable Sebalu.
Thank you very much, Edmond. Thank you very much, listeners and viewers out there. I bring you greetings from the East African Legislative Assembly in particular and the East African community in general. Hope we are going to have an hour of fruitful interactive engagement.
We also have Imam Eid Kasozi, lecturer at IUIU, that's the Islamic University in Uganda. He's actually a Muslim cleric as well. You're most welcome, Imam.
So many things in one.
Thank you. Good evening, listeners. And since it's my first time since Ramadan, I congratulate you for having started fasting. And I hope that we shall be together on Sunday in the Ramadan seminars in Chuli, and this time we are hosting a team from the American Embassy who is a special guest from America. Please, you are invited to attend Chuli. Seminars start at 9 a.m. in the morning. Lastly, I want to also thank the people of MOBS, the management of MOBS, for today's event of Greening Friday, whereby we have been trying to launch replanting trees and teaching how to plant trees so that we can care for our environment. I want to thank Hajat Afwa for organizing the function.
All right, you squeezed in your advert, even though it was not a commercial break. Our third guest, Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party. You're most welcome, Mr. Mayanja.
Thank you, Edmond, and good evening, listeners and viewers.
Viewers, because we're also on the internet via YouTube. Let's look at London. London literally was burning this week. It faced 3 days of unprecedented riots and looting, which caused loss of property and lives. This was a key reference point in discussions worldwide, in the media and in other places. Honorable Sebalu, how did you receive this news, and what do you see as the roots of it?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Definitely, I was not too surprised because there are issues of economic nature around the globe, and the recession is yet to go away. It is manifesting itself in different ways, and when you have the issues like you have that happened in London, where one of the gangsters was shot and all of a sudden the entire city was on fire, it just sparked off kind of a reaction to underground grievances that the London dwellers have been having over time. There are issues of the radical change that were made by Cameron in his leadership
as a prime minister.
Some of which were interpreted by the society as being deprivation, being deprived of their rights. You know, when you enjoy a welfare state and certain benefits, and all of a sudden it is no more. Definitely, you are bound to cross roads with some sections of the population. So the unemployment is something that you'll definitely appreciate. The cost of living is also quite high in UK, and on top of that, the engagement of Britain in the Libyan crisis, the kind of money they are spending there is also a bit of an issue. It has been coming in here and there, where people feel that maybe too much money was being put to that exercise at the expense of the British people addressing their concerns. So when this kind of situation came, to me it was not a big surprise. Only the surprise surprise was the magnitude and the manner in which it was executed, because these people have always known to marshal their numbers, walk on the streets and with their placards, but when they get into the looting, into the torching of buildings, I think we are witnessing a new wave of demonstrations or rioting, which is far different from the traditional way we've known it. And the kind of response mechanism, if you apply the response that has always been preached, then you're likely to have a big problem. Another big surprise that came up was the involvement of young children. You know, you get 11-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10 taking center stage. That clearly has a lot to show the kind of society that the British are having, and their future really needs to reflect so much on this kind. And Prime Minister was mad, you know, calling them sick, the parents who don't care. He really came out and was quite very emotional about it. But I think we are moving away from civil disobedience to civil criminality. And when I hear people here talking about, you know, we are continuing with our civil disobedience, it clearly shows that many people join these demonstrations and riots for different reasons. Because the person who was shot he has been a known gangster. You know, he was not anyone to write home about when you say, look, but people had different motives and they manifested themselves in different ways. So when you hear people cautioning about these riots and the strikes and the demonstrations, and say, look, if you organize these kind of things, you may never know what other people's intentions are. We've had similar situations here when people are talking about the Mabira, and people went around and got Indians, started killing them. So I think we really need to redefine and be cautious about these events, and be cautious. To me, it was a good lesson, because people have always said, you see, it is their right, but the response I've heard from the British government, the Prime Minister saying that the canisters will be in supply as and when you need them, right, and they will be cracked. So I think we are getting to a level where some level of seriousness needs to be used to deal with this phenomenon. Otherwise, it is taking a trend that is becoming a little more dangerous than what has been the case before.
And of course, the Prime Minister also said he could call out the soldiers if needed be. Let's talk about, let's stretch it a little bit. The US has been under pressure not to spend a great deal on the military. They've failed to send their soldiers in force, or their army in force, in Libya. Now Britain is also having that problem. Do we see a situation where the world powers begin to reduce their military expenditure so they can look at their populations?
That is unlikely. You know, some of these big powers, their strategic interest is in building military capacity to be able to manage and direct situations in their favor. So my view is that it is unlikely. There could be a little percentage reduction, but strategically, I don't see these powerful countries, you know, reversing their foreign policy, which is based so much on their military strength to be able to direct and influence world affairs.
Right, reducing a little bit. America slashed their defense expenditure from 700 billion last year to 600 billion this year. Imam Eid Kasozi, London was burning. We used to sing it as a nursery rhyme. This time we saw it.
Thank you very much. And I think there are lessons to learn. What is happening, as they have put it, economics of the world is affecting the welfare and well-being of people, and people must react to it in different proportions depending on the circumstances. But generally, if we saw people who are involved and their age, what Honorable sebalu is saying surprised him. To me, I am not surprised. The reason is too much freedom to the young person in the home. And who is in charge of the home? In the UK, it is the child. He can't take you to police.
Yes.
Or people, if you have a young child who is below 15, or even you are not supposed to leave him in the house, even if he's 15.
Yes.
Alone, without another person. If they found him, you are in trouble. Because
child neglect.
So they thought they were doing something good, and I was very much impressed by a comment by a Nigerian woman. When the police went, she told them, go away. Go away. We have told you, let us bring up our children to our values, the way we think. Children should be controlled, managed, taught how to behave. You are saying they have the freedoms, all the freedoms. And now we have given them the freedoms, that is the result. And you are paying the price for it. So this business of living an artificial life, whereby we think that, okay, we are developed, therefore even the children are developed, and you have no say, you give them all the freedom they want. No, I should give the children the freedom, but they should be controlled and directed and shown how to behave, how to react to situations. So when we look at this, the whole situation in London, it has a lot to tell about upbringing of children, about family values, about the future of the world, if we let certain things go by because we are in the rights era. The second thing, so what lesson do I learn? We are legislating towards that.
Leaving the children to rule.
Yes. And I, as a person, I have been, by I think, pace, even used my face and my voice to send a message of
the right of the child?
The right of the child in view of violence against children.
True.
Because that whatever we say, whatever we do to the children may leave a scar that is permanent on their minds.
Yes.
And therefore, this is probably what we are witnessing. And the children, if left alone, you have a problem. I want to give a specific example now. My own children. This year I have 2 sons joining university.
Right.
And then I gave them opportunity to make choice for their the courses they want to study.
Yes.
And I discussed with them the universities where I think they should do better for those given courses. But one of them vehemently told me, I will not go there.
Yes.
I will not go there. Yes. And then I told him, yes, okay, you will not go there, but me, I am in charge. Not the state.
Right.
My child is my child.
True.
The state cares about this child, but he is my child because I have never seen any penny from the state to care for my child. Because even what the state puts in, because I pay tax myself.
True.
So I told him one thing, you either go or you leave my home. And I even he told him, okay, give me your budget of what you want, or I give it to you and I say, buy it to you, you are no longer my child, because me, I don't produce children who are bad behaved.
Right.
Then he thought he did not care, because the university is on for 1 week now.
Yeah.
They have not gone until yesterday. Then I talk, what is your view? Where is your budget? When are you going to? Then they didn't care until this morning when he woke up at the dark time. At around 4:30 this morning,
yes,
he sat down and wrote an apology to me for having antagonized me. Then when I went to the mosque in the morning, when I was giving my sermon, he was there. I told the parents of what is happening and what we, in the view of these things, and then I told them that I have my children are refusing to go where I want them to go. I am giving them only 1 week.
Yes.
If they fail to go in this 1 week, whoever has a child who is in need, bring this child who if is responsible. I pay this to this child and I give my own child. Okay. So the whole idea is we must, as parents, we must be in charge. Legislators must consider certain facts, certain issues before they peg too much freedom to the child.
Right.
And the other thing that we need in the home. Okay. Lastly, what I wanted to add, he said that Indians were killed in Mavida. Indians were killed in London, in Birmingham.
Yes.
They were killed.
True.
3 of them. I saw, and one of the person, he had stopped to help the person who had been injured and or maybe
trying to
protect that.
Yeah.
In the process,
they got killed.
No, his own child was the one who was killed behind him.
Right.
So when he turned behind, he had just stopped to help somebody else. Just then somebody, who is this one?
High price.
Took back his own child. Okay. So 3 Indians, people from Asian origin, and another student from Malaysia. All of these were tortured. So it means the indigenous people, wherever they are, when you are a foreigner in their land and they suspect that probably you are benefiting from what should be theirs, that is the reaction. It is not because they are Indians. No, it is not that the Mavira case, because they maybe people who wanted to kill them or who killed one of them. Yes, they reacted because of Mavira is given to Meta from the Asian subcontinent. So this idea of being a foreigner in any land has some implications. As we plan to be there, we should also think critically of staying probably where we live, because they deceive you, international community, and I've told you it does not exist.
All right. Of course, we talk about the child's choices. One parent in Nigeria, a family that I heard about, the father insisted the child should study medicine. The child wanted music, and the father said, "You do medicine." The child went to school, did medicine. On graduation day, he gave the father everything and said, "This is your degree. You asked me to do it. Now let me go and face my music." Mr. Vincent Mayanja, let's talk about what happened in London this week. How did you read into it?
Well, I've heard my colleagues talking about what took place in London. Well, it's unfortunate that in such a developed country we could really witness something like that. But I have to add by saying that what we saw there was not really the killing of that gentleman. That was the spark, as Honorable Sebalu has said. What do we learn from this? That when people talk about any issue that concerns them, politicians should stop being arrogant about it. The moment you become arrogant about issues concerning people's welfare, then you are just breeding problems. In London, in UK, the Conservative government has made tremendous cuts in many social sectors, including health, including all those things. Then they cut school, I think school fees or school dues. So it has been boiling, and this was just a sparker. And I think even here in Uganda, when we come back here in Uganda, we need to look at all those. People have expressed themselves that, well, the cost of living is bad. Can government do this? Can we do this? Then the government reacts in a different way. That's what sparks such occurrences. The other thing I want to learn from what took place in London, I didn't see rifles on the streets with the police.
Yes.
I was watching, I was very much interested in this, but I saw rioters throwing all sorts of missiles at the police, but the police could just pick those things, put them by the wayside, and
was that a good thing? In the end, we had 3 days of riots, a lot of destruction.
Oh yes, but what brought about it? What started the riots in the first place?
Well, but let's talk about
it. It was a peaceful demonstration, which was moving. Then police came and stopped it.
Yes.
Then it sparked.
So they should not have stopped them.
They should. Let me tell you, even here in Uganda, the way we shall handle, even we are going to discuss that. The way we shall handle anything to do with demonstration is going to end up in a different way. We should know how to handle the things, and we should handle them carefully. Because when somebody is pressed, his back is behind the wall, the way they react is different.
Okay, let's move forward to the next point. Mr. Mayanja, the Minister of Security, Wilson Murumukasa, has branded those planning to protest as terrorists. You come from the DP, which has had some protests, been a protagonist of some of these protests. So what do you read into this?
No, I think it is a right to express oneself.
Even as a minister saying you're a terrorist?
Oh, that is his definition of somebody demonstrating and expressing himself. I don't think that the demonstrators are terrorists, and I don't believe it. But the way he handles it again is the way it is going to really fold out.
But this gives you an idea about what he's going to do.
Oh yes, it gives me, but of course he's going to end up with a situation that we have really gone through. Because if he maintains that these are terrorists and they are handled as terrorists, we are going to have problems with it. Because we are not going to work as the Metropolitan Police in London, which came with only anti-riot gear, without any rifle. We are going to deploy the army. And if the army is really briefed that you are going to face terrorists, they will come to face terrorists, and you know what will happen. Therefore, the minister, I think, is wrong. I had Cameron, when he got back from his holiday, he came and addressed these things, but he was not talking about the rioters. Yes. He was talking about the criminal elements, the criminal part of the riots.
But how do you tell Sergeant?
That's what even the minister.
Some of them were good, some of them were bad.
No, he said he didn't address the action of expression. He did not. He said the action of rooting. That was criminal. I don't believe in that.
But that was the outcome.
Honorable, I think, leave me to put across my point. You put across yours. So I'm saying that the way Honorable Muruli Mukasa and his colleagues handle whatever is coming is very fundamental. Will determine how it is going to really work out. But what I want to tell the government here and now is that they should differentiate between the rights as enshrined in our constitution and criminality.
Okay. All right, this is Spectrum on Radio 1. I have to go for a break. We'll be back to review the rest of the key events that marked this week.
Let's show you how to multiply your savings, starting with the cash beneath the mattress to the savings in the bank that aren't making money. Let's turn your savings into somethings with Super Save Reloaded. Super Save Reloaded brings you savings and investment accounts which offer you a sure and predictable way to multiply your savings. For more information about Super Save Reloaded, ask at your nearest Stanbic Bank branch. Stanbic Bank, moving forward.
3 times a year, every year for the past 6 years, I have been stressed going to pay school fees. I've woken up at the crack of dawn, taken 2 taxis and a board, finally arrived, filled out the forms. I have lined up between a guy with kavubuka and a guy with a nasty cough. And I've waited and waited, but no more now. I have moved on with MTN mobile money. So now I pay school fees directly from my mobile while I spend time with my children.
When you move on with MTN mobile money, your children can move on to greater things. And now everyone can pay school fees with MTN mobile money. So be one of the 100 people to win 100,000 shillings towards your next school shopping when you pay school fees with MTN mobile money.
MTN, everywhere you go. Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. We are reviewing the week, some of the issues we are yet to touch, the economic crisis and how government is responding to it, the constitutional court ruling in the trial of Professor Gilbert Bukenya. Inside of Parliament, the 9th House appears to be getting its teeth, so to use the expression. They've kicked out some of the budgets that were presented, and some officials have been sent away to go and come back with a cleaner act. Our guests tonight to review the week, Honorable Mike Sebalu, Member of Parliament of the East African Legislative Assembly representing the NRM, Imam Eid Kasozi, lecturer at the Islamic University in Uganda, also a Muslim cleric, and Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party. You can contribute to this discussion, maybe not by calling in tonight, but you can send a text message to 7197. That is, type the word Spectrum in your phone browser. Message, question or comment, send it to 7197. Honorable Mike Sebalu, let's talk about the economic crisis. The shilling has hit 2,800 right now. Where are we likely to be heading?
Yeah, thank you very much. But before I make comments about the economic crisis, let me just say something about the protests and
all right, go on.
these ideas. That I think I want to say that we should not look at this as a way of life, because some people are specializing in this.
In protests?
Yeah, protests, demonstrations, riots, and they want to turn it into a way of life, which is not serious in my view.
Especially they don't get paid.
Especially when it comes to a leader of a political party, and all the time your pronouncements, your focus, your everything is about demonstrations. It then deprives you of the right and role to give leadership. At a point like this, I would be expecting people to come with alternate economic positions, right, and ensure that we get some mileage somewhere. But when they concentrate at that level on kind of instilling kind of rebellious tendencies in the population, I think it is diversionary. And as leaders, I would think we engage in more constructive engagements to build this economy. It is